Hello everyone, welcome to today's video. It is Unapologetically Rants, hosted by yours truly, Unapologetically Political. Today I'm going to be ranting about taxes. This is going to be fun. I love ranting about taxes. So, I live in the great state of Florida, where state income tax doesn't exist and sales tax is lowered. And it's beautiful. Now, sadly, we still have federal income tax, but that's just sadly what it is. I'll get into that later. But Governor Ron DeSantis proposes property tax relief in upcoming budget once eventual abolishment. This is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is amazing. I love this. I have a viewer and a friend who loves glazing Josh Shapiro. Well, I love glazing Ron DeSantis because this guy is brilliant. I love him so much. I love this guy. Alright, he hates taxes. I love guys who hate taxes. I hate taxes. So, that's a plus. So, for those of you who don't know, property taxes are basically the government taxes you for the land you own. So, let's say you pay off your mortgage, you own your house, you own your land, you no longer have a debt with the bank. The government comes knocking at your door saying, just knock, knock, knock. You answer it, who's there? And they say the IRS, and you say, screw you, and you shut the door. Well, in this scenario, in property taxes, you can't say screw you. Basically, the government comes to you, says, hey, now that you own this, you have to pay taxes on it. And you go, I'm sorry, what? They're like, yeah, you have to pay a certain amount of money, depending on the amount of land you own, to the government in property taxes. And you go, why? That's like saying, I need to pay sales tax for a candy. That's like saying, I need to keep paying sales tax for a candy bar I already own. And they go, well, sorta, yeah. Well, then you go, well, that's kind of unconstitutional. And they go, screw you, pay it anyways, or we take your house away. That's in general property taxes. And thank goodness Ron DeSantis is working to get rid of it in the state of Florida. I love this. Property taxes are theft. It's 100% theft. You own your house, you own the land on paper, but the government can still take it away. That is by definition theft. I don't know what else to call it. That is pure and utter theft. So, okay, there's that. Alright. There's also another little thing I wanted to get into. A little thing. It's not going to be a little thing. It's going to be half of this freaking video. Probably more than half of this video. Income tax and estate tax. Let's get into estate tax first, because it's kind of more fun to talk about. Estate tax is basically a death tax. The government taxes you because you had the audacity to die and stop paying taxes. So basically, the pitch meeting for estate tax was basically, you know what? Every time someone dies, they stop paying taxes. How do we make profit of them dying? Well, we tax the belongings that they had when they died. And then the only reasonable person in that room goes, well, didn't they already pay taxes and all that all their life? Shouldn't we give them a break? And the government goes, no, you're fired. And then they tax that anyways. So let's say you're a hardworking American, you pay your taxes on time, you don't complain about taxes, all your stuff is taxed throughout all your life, you don't care because you're a tax-paying American, and then you have your inheritance saved up for your children and their children, and then when you die, the government goes, alright, 30% of all that is now ours. 30% of your inheritances, 30% of your 30% of the value of your belongings, it's all mine now. And then the children and everyone who wanted that nice big happy inheritance are like, the hell? What just happened? That is estate tax in a nutshell, and I hate it. It's another form of theft. Now, let's get into income tax. Income tax is the most dumbest thing I've ever heard. Economically, it holds back a country. It does. It literally makes it so that 40% of your paycheck goes to the government. Let's say you work at McDonald's, you're paid about $15 an hour, you work 500 hours. Crap, I don't have my phone on me, so I don't have my... Actually, there's a calculator right here. I don't like doing math in my head, so I'm going to use a calculator. So, 15 times 500 equals... Alright, that is $7,500. Okay, let's divide that by 40. Well, now it's... Okay, I did that wrong. Never mind. But basically, you made about $7,500, okay? The government takes away takes away about 40% of that. I assume that's about $3,000. I apologize. I'm not good at math, so I'm not doing it right now. I just woke up. But let's just say it's about $3,000, and now you're left with $5,000. Well, that was an extra $3,000 you could have had to go to your rent, your medical bills, your food, whatever, to save, you name it. If we got rid of income tax right now, inflation be gone. Everyone would be happy. Everyone would be freaking rich. And the world would be saved. Like, just... The whole argument of universal health care relies on the fact that there's still income tax. If you get rid of income tax, private health care booms in the snap of a finger. It is beautiful. The vision of the future, everything, it's amazing. And the fact that people don't understand this is really annoying. So, for those of you who don't know, there is a tax theory where if you tax a population less, they pay more in taxes. It is a historically proven system, and it works. Ronald Reagan made the government a ton of money because he lowered taxes. And guess what? Him lowering that taxes, he made a ton of money for the government, which helped him fund the military. Guess what? When a people is taxed less, they're more comfortable buying more stuff. They're more comfortable spending money. Which, guess what? Is more tax money going to the government. Sales tax is beautiful. I love sales tax. It's the only tax I like. If it's low. Alright, so let's say income tax doesn't exist anymore. And normally, if it did, you go to the store while income tax is still around. You go into the store and you say, "Hey, I want this candy bar. How much is it?" And they go, "Oh, well, it's $2, but it has a 50 cents tax." Well, I can't pay that extra 50 cents. I only have $2. I only have $2.25. And you're like, "Well, sorry, you can't buy this because the government will want your money." Well, alright, fine. I guess I'll save it for later. Well, there goes 50 cents that the government could have made. Okay, let's say you lowered it. You lowered that 50% to about 10 cents. Okay? You go to the store with your $2.25. You want that candy bar. You look at the price. It says $2, and you go, "Okay, I want that candy bar. I have $2." And they go, "Well, it's actually $2.10 because 10 cents of it goes to the government." And you go, "Hey, I have $2.25. I don't care." You pay it. and you go and you leave with that extra 15 cents in your pocket and the candy bar. Guess what? The government just made that 10 cents, and you want to know what happens? That 10 cents adds up a whole lot quicker than that 50 cents because people are more willing to pay the lower price. The government also makes more money because people aren't going to hide their money. People aren't going to use the loopholes in the system to hide it because people are just comfortable paying it. People aren't going to use offshore bank accounts to keep their money from being taxed. They're just going to put it in an American bank because we are comfortable with paying those taxes because, well, income tax is gone, sales tax is low, I'm rich, I make a ton of money, I feel comfortable paying the tax. If we got rid of income tax, most of our country's problems would be solved when it comes to money. Most of our problems. We would still have to deal with insurance companies being insurance companies, but it'd be better than nothing. I mean, we'd be rich. All of us would be rich. My dad loses 40% of his paycheck to income tax, and a ton of other taxes on top of that because he's a business owner. My dad, the owner of our business, makes less money than all the employees. My dad is paid less than all the employees because it's the only way he can keep the business afloat because of the taxes. If we got rid of that income tax and a couple of those other little taxes for business owners, guess what would happen? My dad's business would boom. Everyone's small business would boom. It would be massive. The country would thrive. And the fact that people don't understand this is so sad. The fact people are like, well, if we raise taxes, that funds the government. No, it doesn't. It makes people want to pay taxes less, which means people are going to invest in finding ways not to pay taxes. It's that freaking simple. If the government wants us to pay taxes, all they have to do is lower it. That's all they have to do. It's stupid. I don't understand it. And it's just utterly and totally retardando. I do not like it whatsoever. It is so freaking dumb. Anyways, guys, this has been Unapologetically Rants, the new series I'm trying out where I rant for about 10 to 15 minutes on a certain topic. If you guys have a topic for me to rant about, feel free to put it in the comment section. I will try to incorporate it into my next rant. So, thank you all for watching. This has been Unapologetically Political, and I will see you guys in the next one.